and recording. So people will start joining us here in a few minutes. So I just wanted to go ahead and welcome everyone. Those are going to continually join in. And so we are kicking off our small business series yesterday. We started with marketing for your business, and we tuned in to hear about how you can get new customers, how you can retain good customers, and now they've walked into our business, and it's all up to us as business owners and business professionals to provide an awesome experience for them. And so today we have a panel of business owners and business leaders who are professionals in this field and have provided excellent customer service in our community in their business. And so we're excited to hear from them, lessons learned, tips on how to better our customer service. So we are very excited today to hear from them. This event would not be possible though without our sponsor, F&B Bank. And so here to represent the bank is Amy Futrell, who is going to share with us a little bit about what they do for our community.
Good morning. As Michelle said, I'm Amy Futrell, Callaway County Market President for F&B Bank, and I want to welcome each of you this morning to the Chamber Virtual Small Business Seminar. F&B Bank is thrilled to be the sponsor of the Chamber Seminar Series as we thrive on being able to work with and help the small businesses in our community any way that we can. We want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. And while we prefer to be in person, we are thankful that we have other avenues to hold these meetings for our small businesses in Maury and Callaway County. The Chamber has had a wonderful lineup for the seminar series that includes a lot of great information for our small businesses. So I encourage you to log in for the rest of those coming up and even go back and watch the one on marketing yesterday if you didn't get a chance to join in. On behalf of F&B Bank, we appreciate all that you do for the small business community in Maury and Callaway County. And so now I'm back over to Michelle, and she's going to introduce our wonderful panel for this morning.
Thank you, Amy. We truly appreciate F&B sponsoring our series as we educate and help connect our businesses with one another even. So it's my honor to introduce our panel today, and I'm not going to go into full bios because they've done so many wonderful things. I think that would take up the whole hour. So I'm just going to introduce them and then let them tell a little bit about themselves. But our four panelists today are Dr. Reed Jarvis, owner of Jarvis Vision Center, Whitney Cooper, owner of Flowers by Whitney, Jim Foster, owner of Culver's here in Maury, and Trice Sargent, VP Retail Manager at F&B Bank. So we have a great lineup of experience here. So I'm going to start ladies first with Whitney to tell us just a little bit about her business if you haven't shopped there before.
Yes, hi, I'm Whitney Cooper, owner of Flowers by Whitney. I've been in business about 14 years now. We carry home decor, all types of gifts and clothing. We have been voted Maury's favorite gift shop, and in 2009, we were recognized as one of the top 25 gifted retailers in the U.S.
That's awesome. All right, our next, Jim Foster. Why don't you introduce yourself this morning?
Good morning again. My name is Jim Foster. My wife and I, Chris, are the owners of Culver's of Maury, Kentucky. And recently we just opened a second store in Florence, Alabama. We opened our store a little over 13 years ago now. Maury is my family's hometown. All my grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles live here in Maury. But we brought Culver's with us to Maury because it was our favorite restaurant where we lived before in Milwaukee. And we've really enjoyed working here and working with the young people and the team. We've won a lot of different awards, from Best Burger in Maury to 2 years ago, before the pandemic, we won Best Culver's in the system. We won the Crew Challenge. So over 700 restaurants in the state, in the country, we came in number one, and my team won $50,000 for doing that. So we've really enjoyed our time here in Maury, and I think we've built a home here.
That's such an awesome accomplishment. We're so proud of you and your team. And plus, we love eating there. Love the cheese curds. Love all the good food.
Thank you.
So next, Trice, would you introduce yourself for us today?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Trice Sargent. I'm a retail banking manager for F&B Bank, and we won't go into what banks do. You all know that. But we do like to think that we set ourselves apart in the banking industry with the way we treat people. There's no doubt that we all do things, we all offer a product or a service, but we all deal with people. And I believe that F&B Bank thinks that's really what drives our business is the people. And so we try to go above and beyond in helping people meet their financial needs in the best way possible, in the way that makes sense for them. And so I'm really proud to work for an organization that can do that and really prides itself in the fact that we're a community bank and we make decisions right here to help people every single day.
One of my favorite things that Amy gave me is this pen right here. So that's a great, great thing, customer service. All right, last but not least, Dr. Jarvis.
All right, thanks for having me on today. My name is Dr. Reed Jarvis. We've been in practice here in Murray for about 14 years now. I had the privilege of taking over an established practice here in town, and we've seen it grow substantially over that time period. We started with about 4 employees, now we're at about 20. And we were really excited last year to open our brand new state-of-the-art facility on the north side of town. So we're just excited to serve the community and kind of look at customer service just as, like most of you guys, just as a way to interact and become a part of our patients' lives. That's great. And I love the new facility that you guys built. I know you're very proud of that. The big blue glasses are very fun. All right. So Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes Culver's such an awesome experience for customers?
Well, Culver's is built on hospitality and quality food. That's something that Culver's in Wisconsin started. It was started by the Culver's family. Craig and Leah, they built this company on hospitality. So to be a Culver's owner, you have to go through a 16-week training class. And one of the things they really stress, besides quality food, is very important, but is hospitality and how you greet the guests and how the guests should feel. So we built our business on hospitality and quality food. Friendliness is just part of our culture. And because it's part of our culture, when we hire someone new, the other 60 people welcome them into the family and help them to understand the culture of what we do for our guests and how we want to make our guests feel when they come in the store. So smile, thank you, my pleasure. It's the goal with every one of our guests. So when you walk into Culver's, you're to be greeted before you get to the counter. You're to be, to be made to feel like, hey, we know you're here. Thank you for coming in. And thank you for spending, because you can spend your hard-earned dollars at any store. You don't need necessarily to come to my business. But while you're there, we're going to try and take care of you. We're going to try and meet with you and spend time with you. And then just as important as when you leave, we say goodbye. And I think that's our culture. And I think because of that, I just think our team members and our guests feel it and react that way.
I'll say too, even in the drive-through, I know for a while you had to close the front. The drive-through is very friendly and you guys are very efficient. So I really appreciate your thoughts on that too. Trice, why don't you share with us a little bit about what makes F&B Bank a great experience for your customers?
Sure. Well, I have to say, I love it that Jim's talking about hospitality, and hopefully we get a chance to talk a little bit more about that here soon. But, I think it's because we do just that. I mean, we try to make banking with F&B an experience. We realize that our customers are not a transaction. They're not a number. They're a person. And that's what drives us, knowing the customer's name, calling them by name. So many things that Jim just said ring so true with me. Greeting the customer before they ever get to the teller line, if you will, asking them how we can help them. And by all means, not just greeting them, but by saying goodbye as well, right? And so I resonate so much with what Jim was saying there about hospitality, because it was just a few short years ago that I realized that hospitality wasn't just for restaurants and hotels and resorts, right? It's for all of us. And when I realized that, things just changed for us, I believe, in the way we began to treat the customer, just moving things in a better direction. Not that we were doing anything wrong, but we just didn't understand that part of it. So I feel like by just living out our mission, which is to grow, enrich, and serve, that's what we do. We believe we're here to serve our community, to serve our customers, and that's where it starts. And so I believe that makes us a great bank. It helps us to give the client an experience rather than make them feel like they just came and made a transaction. And that's kind of what sets us apart, I believe.
Those are some great thoughts. Dr. Jarvis, tell us a little bit about what makes Jarvis Vision Center a great place to do business.
Yeah, I think you're going to hear a common kind of trend on all of our businesses. One thing that I think as a leader of a business, it's very important that our job as leaders is to cast that vision for our employees. And then from there to create that culture that we've already heard about, where we empower the employees to live out our vision as a business owner, because we can't do it all by ourselves. And so that's really what we focus on, is being very clear with our employees and hiring people that share a common vision as we do, that can live out our mission to serve people, to provide that hospitality. As Tri said, to treat people not as a transaction, but as a relationship. And I think that's the big difference. We really emphasize valuing and appreciating patients, and in our case, customers, and in everyone else's case. I think that's important that they go away from our business. They need to feel that they've had a different experience than they've had in any other medical office. They need to truly feel their time has been valued, as well as just their presence is valued while they're with us.
That's great that it's not just, I've had those medical experiences where there's like clipboard, and, it's, you don't feel like maybe the bedside manner is that nice, but hey, I want somebody really smart working on me. But, that extra step to be not only professional, but the hospitality is really critical. And I know Flowers by Whitney, you guys do a great job too. So Whitney, it's always fun and bright colors when you walk in, Whitney. So tell us what makes it a great experience.
Thank you. Our goal is to bring happiness and uniqueness in our products to every customer that walks in the door. We do believe in a very casual atmosphere at Flowers by Whitney. We won't bombard you when you walk in the door. We won't push items on you, but instead we ask questions, we listen to see what the customer is in for, and then we show and tell our products. We want our customers to feel welcomed at home, and we want them to leave with the perfect purchase so that they will return in the future. I did have a customer once come in. She said she was just having an awful day and was down in the dumps. She came in the store just because she knew it would cheer her up. She said the bright, fun colors in our smiling faces always made her happy when she came in. So I love that, and I always hope many of our customers feel that way when they leave.
Working in customer service, you never know what the customer has done that day. Maybe they've just gotten some terrible news. Maybe they are excited or happy. And so I've always been trying to treat everyone, just like you guys said, welcoming them and help brighten their day, give a smile, because you never know what they've gone through. So if you can brighten their day, it's always a good thing. So I know you guys have all had great experiences and some lessons learned. So the other business owners and professionals on here, maybe some business managers, tell us some lessons you've learned along the way. Does anybody want to volunteer to go first?
Go first.
All right, Jim.
Well, the main lesson that I think I've learned, of course, when I was younger, I wasn't that friendly, really. I mean, I was in a different industry, and I don't know. If you knew me, I was a friendly guy, but I wasn't outgoing with people that I didn't know. And through the process of aging and seeing how important it is to your guests to greet them, I actually had to teach myself to smile more. And it's kind of a silly thing, but when I have a new team member and they're struggling, or, you know, that they just, you know, they're overwhelmed. They don't know anybody. We're asking them to do things that are out of their comfort zone. I'll sit them down or I'll talk to them about it. And I'll say, listen, this is what I'm telling myself as I'm walking through the restaurant, holding someone's food and I'm delivering someone's food. What you don't know is while I'm walking through and greeting people, in my mind is saying, smile, 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 smile. Now, for 13 years, you know, I thought I would just start saying that and it would just, you know, I would just do it. But what I realized is I'm just not that friendly of a guy, really. So I have to make myself say that. It's just nature now. So when I'm walking through the dining room and I'm smiling at people, you think, wow, this guy's really friendly. I'm not. I'm just saying to myself, smile. And when you see someone smile at you, it just lets the guard down. It lets people know, hey, I am glad that they're there to see me, because they could spend their money anywhere they wanted to. The culture of our restaurant is friendliness. So if the owner is walking through the business and not greeting people, not saying hello to long-term guests, or smiling, at least acting like they're happy to be there, it's impossible to get your team members to do it. So that was just a little lesson that I had to teach myself. So as you see me walking through the dining room someday and you wonder what I'm thinking smile, 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 because I have to do that or I look like this.
That's a great point. I think sometimes you learn how people perceive you. And sometimes I've noticed that I do that too. I've got that resting, you know what, face. And so I have to really train myself too to like, okay, people, you know, put on a friendly face and just train yourself. I love that. I wrote that down just to train myself and remind myself to smile. I really like that. Who wants to go second? Any volunteers?
I'll go next.
Okay, Whitney.
A hard lesson that I've learned over the last 14 years is that you can't and won't please every single person that walks in Flowers by Whitney. That was difficult for me because I am a people pleaser. And like Michelle said earlier, sometimes you just have to realize a customer could be having a tough day or has just received bad news. And before they even came in the door, they were having a rough day. So we may be doing our best at customer service, but no matter what, that customer experience will not be good. And that was a hard lesson I had to learn.
That saying the customer's always right. That's always a difficult thing, right?
Yeah, that's one thing I would add too. I mean, that's exact saying the customer's always right. I mean, I don't personally believe that's a true statement, but I do believe that as a business, we have to empathize with the customer and we have to see their point of view. And it's really important for us to learn to be good listeners and not have an agenda when we interact with customers, but to hear what it is that's driving them into doing business with you. Because as we all know now more than ever, there's choices galore as far as where you can get anything from. And in our case, eye care service is no different. So that's what separates us and sets us apart, is where we take time to stop, listen, empathize with the patient, understand what their needs are, and then offer solutions to meet those needs. And that's really what I feel like our job is to guide the patient kind of through their experience so that they have choices and options to solve problems in their lives that drive them in the first place.
Trice, do you have any other thoughts on this one, lessons learned?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of these comments. And I want to say also, mention on the customer always being right. And the way we teach it here at the bank is, no, I agree, Reed, the customer is not always right. And you said it good. What we teach is, but they are always the customer. And so that means we respect them and we treat them like they're important, because they are important. I heard a story of not long ago of someone moving their account relationship to another bank simply because they didn't feel important. And what that means is someone came in with a problem and they needed a solution and no one offered a solution. And I'm not saying they moved away from us, they actually came to us. But when people don't feel important and they don't feel like you're listening to them, and they don't feel like you have time for them, they don't want to do business with you. And that's a sad day for any business when you lose a customer because you did not pay attention to them, you neglected them. And if you want to have good customer service and hospitality, because they are two separate things, by the way, you have to do that. And I think that you have to teach your whole team, the culture on your whole team has to be excellence. If you're striving for excellence, you will make far few mistakes, because excellence in service, excellence in hospitality, excellence in the efficiency with which we produce our product or our service. We have to think of excellence in everything we do. And I agree with what Jim said. I mean, for me, attitude is, I teach people in this bank, attitude is everything. And, you know, if you look unapproachable, well, guess what? No one's going to approach you. And you have to remind yourself, like Jim was saying, he tells himself to smile. I have to recognize, I don't know about you all, but I can feel it when my attitude is changing and it's going downhill fast. I can recognize my attitude is going downhill fast, and I have got to change that, because I don't want anyone to encounter me with a bad attitude. That would be a bad day for us. So I think that all of these comments are great. I agree with them 100%. And you just have to, it's about respect and treating people right and not pushing products on them, and hearing them and helping them through life in whatever it is that you do.
One thing I'd also add, Michelle, I think more than ever, if the pandemic last year taught us, is to don't take customers or patients for granted, because it can all stop, as we saw, in an instant. And that's one thing I think that I really learned last year. We were shut down for 6 weeks, couldn't see anybody. And I'm sure, some of you guys had the same experience, but you realize really quickly, how you have to take every customer experience and maximize it to its fullest opportunity, because you never know what's going to happen next. I mean, one of the things that I personally did during that 6 weeks of downtime is I wrote over 100 just handwritten thank you notes to our top customers, just thanking them for doing business with us in the past, and hoping that they do business with us in the future, because I wanted them to know that, as a small locally owned business, we appreciated and valued their choosing us when, even in times when, we were all struggling.
That's a great point. And, I think it's a realistic expectation as a customer, all of us are customers at different times with different businesses, to have that excellent service. That's the basement. The minimum is good service. You want hot food. That's a customer realistic expectation is that your food is hot, or, in banking that you get your deposit taken or your loan processed. And so what do you feel like you do in your business that goes above and beyond that base level of excellence? So maybe some best practices you have to go above and beyond the base level of excellence that customers expect, but things that they maybe don't expect that you guys do and do really well. Anybody want to take a stab at that first?
Well, following up with what Reed had just said, with COVID and having to lock our doors, we did have to implement curbside pickup and front porch delivery. And that was something very different for us. We had Easter and Mother's Day coming up right around the corner when we had to lock our doors. So we had to implement that because our customers still needed gifts, still needed their favorite candle. A lot of them were at home more than ever, wanting to redo their home decor. So we did a lot of FaceTiming. We put more focus into social media so that they could shop from the convenience of their own home. And it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. It was a lot of work, but it turned out to be a blessing because I got to know my customers better than ever during that time. We even went on to, during Christmas, we hosted VIP nights where a customer would sign up for a 1 hour time slot, come in for personal shopping, free gift wrapping, all while in a safe environment during COVID. So.
And I think, one thing that small retailers in local communities can offer that, some of these big retailers can is the wrapping. I mean, that is above and beyond. I know that's a huge expense for you. But the wrapping and having a nice, awesome gift, you leave kind of ready to give it to somebody. And so I know that's one way that you guys go above and beyond. Jim, tell us your thoughts on this.
Well, of course, when COVID hit this last year and we started shutting businesses down, it completely changed our business model. I mean, we were always 70% in-house, 30% drive. And we in one day, we had to go to 100% drive. So how do you still give good hospitality when you don't get to see the guest as much? How do you provide excellent service when they're in their car and they've got a mask on and we've got a mask on? And how do you do all those things? And it's really hard to see people and get that, that I guess eye contact is all you have because they can't really see you smiling. So we used our voice inflection. We really concentrated on when someone was coming through the drive that the person on the drive-through was very friendly in their voice. And I usually work in the kitchen and I switched over to where I was taking the food out more so that I could see our guests and the people that I wouldn't normally see and look them in the eye and hand them their food and thank them and see how they're doing personally. But I think the two things that we had to do really well was one, we had to stay clean. Even though they weren't coming into our restaurant, me and my son all last summer worked on painting and landscape and all these different things to make the restaurant look cleaner from the outside and make it more attractive. And at one point I had a guest say, I'm coming here to do business with you because I know you keep your restaurant clean. And if anybody can get through this pandemic without spreading it, we feel comfortable that you can. And that was very heartwarming to us, and I really appreciated that comment. And the other thing is speed. For me, it was when we were 70-30, drive-through just chugged along, and it wasn't, but the dining room was more important, and we put all our effort on the dining room. But when all of a sudden, one day later, it's 100% dine-in, you had to reinvent the wheel a little bit and go and be fast because people will only wait 4 to 5 minutes for food. So once they've ordered at the thing, you want to make sure they have their food in their hand in 4 to 5 minutes. And if they don't, they feel like you're taking too long. Well, what they don't understand is some of the food we cook takes 5 minutes to cook. So even if we make all of our food fresh, so if you order a sandwich that takes 5 minutes to cook, it's going to probably be 6 minutes. But we push more and more people to drive through. We try to make it more efficient. We try to make it faster. We try to make it a little friendlier than it maybe had been in the past. So we really had to reinvent that wheel. And I noticed that, part of the hospitality is a lot of the restaurants have not opened their dining room back up. And the reason they're not is honestly, it's financially better to keep your dining room closed if your drive-through stays busy. But we reopened our dining room because we wanted to see our guests. So many of our guests, part of their week was coming in and eating with us. And, we had one young man, his name is Dennis. He's way over retirement age, but he came every day for lunch. So us closing our dining room and this pandemic changed his whole routine. So 7 days a week, he came and had lunch with us. Well, it was 14 months before he could come back in the restaurant. And he finally, the day he got past his 2 weeks on his second shot, he came in to have lunch. And he's back with us every day. And we love seeing Dennis. He's just kind of part of the family. And it just changed, this pandemic changed everything. So you really had to look at your business and say, how can I still be friendly? How can I still be efficient? How can I still get the guests to get engaged with my restaurant or my business? And it's very difficult. I'm sure Whitney and Reed and Trice all had to figure out, how do we do this? How do we make our guests feel welcome when we can't see them? It was a tough situation.
Trice or Reed, do you have any thoughts to follow Jim?
Yeah, for sure. I agree. It was tough. And, if we're talking about the pandemic specifically, early on, I think the bank did a great job at at shifting. And we just said, look, we're going to have to do more stuff through the drive-through because people can't come in. And you saw a lot of banks around town. I hope that they did that, but I don't know what other banks did. But you know, if you didn't normally do cash advances or a cashier's check or something like that through the drive-through, well, guess what? Now you need to do that, and you need to figure out how to do it quickly. So just some of the same things that Jim is saying, I resonate with because we had to shift like that too. And matter of fact, I even did a 5-minute micro learning course for, you know, we started doing micro learning during this time. We developed a whole studio within the bank, and we started doing micro learning trainings on how to treat people while you're wearing a mask. And you know, Jim's exactly right. Voice fluctuation and a hand gesture or whatever goes a long way when you're wearing a mask. So I think though, when it comes down to best practices, I want to give you a couple. One that I learned a few years ago, and I'm just going to tell you, when I learned this, Jim is going to say, yeah, I've known this for years because he's in what we call the hospitality industry. But when I learned the difference between service and hospitality, it was a game changer, not only for me, but for the bank. And what I want to say with this is service is one thing. Service means it's a bit technical. It means I know how to do my job. I can run your transaction efficiently. I can do it right. I can not put it in someone else's account. I know how to do my job, right? That's great. And that's important because customers want to know that you're confident and that you do your job right. Well, the other part of it is hospitality. Hospitality is, how did we make you feel while we provided the service? So if your business is operating on one side of the coin, just service, you're missing a huge amount of opportunity to connect with people. And that's the other thing I want to say. It's all about connection. You have got to find a way while that person is in your drive-through, in your office, there's got to be a connection made. That's what brings people back, is connection. Sure, we run transactions right, but they don't go bragging around town, hey, F&B always runs my transaction right. No, what do they brag about? They brag about that I love Abby. She's so friendly when I go there. She treats me like I'm a human being. And this is hospitality. And so if your business does not understand the difference between service and hospitality, you've got to make that shift. I would say is a game changer for me. And I'll give you one more thing, Michelle. I know I'm talking a lot here, but one more thing. This is really important to me, as you can tell. The other thing is, if your business wants to do 3 things to change your service immediately, I mean, you can do it today. Here's the 3 things. 1, I've read a lot of books on this. 1, you use the customer's name. If you know the name, you use it. If you don't know it, you figure it out and you use it sometime during the interaction. The second thing you can do is talk with them about something other than the transaction. Sure, you're here to get a cheeseburger. You're here to get your eyes taken care of. You're here to buy some flowers or run a transaction. But what else is going on in the world that we can talk about today? Or what's going on with your family that we can talk about today, right? And the third thing is just be friendly. And that's the honest truth. People just want to deal with friendly people. So that's my best practices, Michelle. Hope it helps.
That's a great point. So the other day I was getting coffee at a local coffee shop, and it was taking a little longer than normal, which is fine. But the girl said, you know, it's going to be just an extra minute. Do you have anything fun planned for this weekend? And so like, she just took a time to engage with me. And I was like, hey, that's awesome. And I made sure to point out, like, I love the way you engage with me. So anyway, I think that's a really good point. The service and then hospitality on top of the service. I like those thoughts. Reed, do you have anything? I know you look at eyeballs all day.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Trice brings up a point. I mean, you look for other opportunities to make personal connections outside of what they're there for. I mean, one example is, I see a lot of elderly people, and I had this sweet old lady that would come in literally like every week just to get a cup of coffee in our waiting room. It's like, okay. So, one day we surprised her and we got her a Keurig coffee maker and just gave it to her, random act of kindness kind of stuff. And she just started crying and she was like so appreciative of it, and she would never expect to go to a medical office and go away with a Keurig coffee maker. So I think if you can look for other ways to kind of surprise your customers too on occasion and just kind of show them, again, you're viewing them as a human being relationship. It's not a transactional relationship that you have. One other best practice I think that's important is we empower our employees to make decisions on the spot. I know for me as a customer, there's nothing more frustrating than when I have a problem with a product or service and you talk to the employee and they look at you like just stare at you and they say, well, I've got to talk to my manager. So I always tell my employees, if you can fix the problem for under $1,000, fix it on the spot. I don't want to hear about it. So, if they come in and they're complaining about their glasses or there's some kind of problem they had in the production of them or a service that they weren't expecting to have to pay a copay for, anything, it doesn't matter. I always tell the employees, you have the power, you have the ownership in this business to make that call on the spot, to make the customer, in this case, the patient, happy and feel, like they got value out of their doing business with us. I think that's important that our employees feel that empowerment. One other kind of best practice too that I think is important is to be aware of technology. I mean, in our business, we are known for new technology. I mean, every time people come into our office, they're like, you've got a new instrument or new toy or new thing. And that's very important for us. But it does become, when you start introducing technology into the customer service field, I feel like it really sterilizes that experience. So one thing that was really important to us is to make sure that anytime someone calls our office, they hear a human being on the other line. They're not getting an instant recording to press 1 for this or press 2 for that. I know that creates more efficiency. And as Jim was saying, it's probably more profitable to do it that way, but I really feel like it sterilizes that experience to where customers feel like a number all of a sudden, and they're just picking a ticket and waiting in line. So one thing that when we built our new building, the center of our new building is simply a call center. So we took all the phones away from the front desk so that the receptionist focuses on who's there to greet them, to interact with them. And in the middle of the office, there's 4 people and they're on the phone all day long, answering phone calls, responding to text message, responding to emails. And that's their job, is when somebody calls, that phone doesn't need to ring more than 2 times before a friendly voice picks up and starts talking with them.
And that's great. You've really identified your market, which in a small rural community like Murray, Callaway County, it's so nice when someone remembers your name. You talk to somebody on the phone and you have that friendly service. And so that's one thing that people always love about our community. We hear it all the time when people come in or they're looking to move here. They say, gosh, this community is so friendly. And it's because of our businesses. And what I've really noticed, even from hearing you all today, is it really starts from the top down. And it's the way that you train, your employees. You better yourself and you have expectations and you train your employees in that way. And I think that says a lot for you all. I know we have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to kind of just ask a random question and just for some final thoughts. But we talked a little bit about the pandemic effect. Moving forward, how do you feel like business will change? Maybe in regards to customer service, but do you feel like there will be an element where things are different now for your business moving forward? Or maybe something you learned through the pandemic that you'll always have in your business moving forward, or your business model?
I think we're going to personally we are competing with Amazon every day, obviously. Amazon's 1 click away, delivered to your doorstep in 2 days. We ask ourselves, like, how do we compete with that? And again, that goes back to what we talked about earlier with hospitality, in going forward, like customer service with a smile, personal relationships with our customers, the free gift wrapping, the uniqueness in our product, open houses that we host, at least 4 times a year. The list goes on and on. But I think going forward, we will have to concentrate on that more than ever, since the pandemic and since the, Amazon and online sales and whatnot.
It's that customer service that puts you over the top, to be able to touch and feel the products and have a place that welcomes you and makes you feel special. That's really your competitive advantage.
Yeah,
And I love that to hear from you.
thank you.
Anybody
Yeah,
else?
I think it's important that, you know, and she brings up a good point as far as Amazon. I mean, in our world, it's the Warby Parkers of the world. It's the, you know, 1-800 contacts. It's the, you know, I buy direct, you know, those kind of things. And one thing that I've always heard is, you know, you can't compete in that realm. That's not what you're doing. You want to change the game. You want to change what the experience and that focus should be on. So, you know, if somebody wants fast and cheap, they can always outperform us. That's not our thing. So you have to really hone in on what is it that your business specializes in, and really become more of a specialty kind of retailer, a specialty clinic that that kind of goes above and beyond and does things that those giant corporations cannot do. They can't have that personal touch. They can't have that personal interaction and be what they are. So that's where we change the game. We kind of take a step backwards, and we become that person that offers that concierge service that people really desperately desire in a world now where all their interaction is done via telephone, like this.
Well, for us here at Culver's, you know, Culver's believes that the drive-through will continue to be a strong way for us to build business, and we don't know that it'll ever go back to 70-30. We think it's going to end up at about 50-50 because some people have just gotten used to going through the drive-through instead of going in. Some people are just never going to let go of that, and that's just what it is. So we really have to make sure that we're doing everything right at the outside of the building, the inside of the building, the hospitality. You know, our main guests, our guests that come every day or every other day or every week, are still going to come inside. Our Sunday church crowd is still going to come inside, but we've got to make sure that we get them to remember what it's like to come inside and sit down. You know, what they remember about Culver's and the hospitality and the way the store feels when you walk in the door. And that's just going to take time. I mean, it's going to switch back around, and hopefully we don't have another uptick in COVID, and then all of a sudden we start closing things again. But I think in early June, we're back at 100%. We're at 75% now. You know, we're just trying to make sure that the guests remember why they wanted to come in, why they don't want to go through the drive-through. They want that personal service. They want someone to serve them. They don't want to take their garbage home with them and still have to throw it out. So that's what we're working hard on is getting people to remember how important it was for them to socialize and be part of that culture.
I love that. I can remember lots of soccer games coming, you know, with the team and celebrating together. And really a meal is about fellowshipping with one another and celebrating a win or being sad about a loss. And so I know that those family type experiences or friend type experiences are what sitting in a restaurant provides. And I know that my family, I can say, misses that and looks forward to the day when we can do that again. Trice, I know you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I agree with the panel, you know, and we're no different. You know, if you really wanted to, you could go online somewhere and you could find a bank online and you could open a deposit account. You can get a loan. You can do all of that stuff. I went to a seminar a couple of years ago, and I learned that there will always be a place for boutique banking. And what that means is exactly what the panel has just said. You know, Whitney said it, Reed said it, Jim's talking about it. It's like we specialize in something, and that is helping you in your financial life, you know, helping you be financially successful, and helping you meet the goals that you have for your life. And that's because we took the time to listen to you and to talk to you about what those goals are and how do we help you get there. I think Reed said it earlier, you know, like a guide. And that's exactly how we see it. And so I think that's changed for us a little bit. I mean, we've been doing it already, but a little bit, it's like, just how do you be even more accommodating than you were before? How can you, knowing that people do want to do a certain amount of business online or over the phone or in the drive-through, how do you be as accommodating as you can be in those situations? And that's going to, be a change for us going forward, because more and more people are doing that. And you have to just be as convenient as you can while maintaining that boutique feel, as I like to call it, that specialty feel. And that's what makes a big difference in the market today, in any business, really.
So as we close out here, does anyone have any final thoughts or something that popped in their head that they wanted to share?
I was going to say earlier, we do have to remember we have the best support here in Murray, Kentucky. I believe we're in the best small town in America. So the support from our customers has been overwhelming through COVID. And I think we're lucky to be in Murray and have businesses in this town.
I'd like to say, if I was a business owner and I was worried about hospitality and maybe I wasn't doing as well, what I would recommend to them is go to your store, get out of your car, walk through your front door, and see how your business feels. How did it look on the outside? Was it clean? Was it organized? Was everything how it was supposed to be? When you walk in your store, does it feel like you're in a museum? Or does it feel like you're in some place that's a friendly place and you want to be? Is it clean? Is it inviting to guests? Do the team members look at you and smile and welcome you as you walk in the door? And by God, please clean your bathroom. There you go. If you do that and you get a good assessment of your business and you feel like it's a friendly place, then you're doing it right.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle, I would say too that really this whole thing starts with just leadership. And we really didn't talk about that necessarily, but I read a book not long ago called Designed to Lead. And honestly, it's more for church leadership, but it doesn't matter. Leadership is a principle that crosses every boundary, every industry, everything. And so the comment that was made in the book where I read it said, really a good definition of leadership is go forth and die. And I know that sounds not appealing, but leadership is a tough thing. And while all that means is it's not about you. It's not about me anymore as the leader. It's about the team, and it's about moving forward and moving the team forward, not moving me forward and my agenda forward. And when you have a team approach, like we've talked about today, and you're leading in that way for the benefit of others, not for the benefit of me, but for the benefit of others, then people just seem to rise to the occasion. They want to be part of something like that because it's bigger than them. And I think that helps a ton. I think it starts with the leadership. And we've heard really that's what's underlying in this whole conversation today is we have some great leaders here that are explaining how this starts. And it starts with them and moves forward.
Reed, anything you want to share last before we leave?
No, I mean, I think we've all kind of hit on the same points, and everything that's been said, I would just kind of echo. It really does. It's a top-down kind of thing. If the leader of the organization doesn't emphasize and show and appreciate and value their people, then their people are not going to then value the customers. And so I think that's really important, as you do have to create that contagiously healthy culture within your office, to where everybody knows that we're out for each other's good. And if we're doing that for each other, it's going to naturally spill over into doing good for our customers.
Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. And one thing, we really didn't talk about, but I just want to say thank you to you all, is how engaged you are in the community. You all support the community and the schools, Murray State, through your businesses. And that really helps build brand loyalty too. People see you and they trust you. And that's a really big part of building a customer base as well. So I just want to say thank you guys for being invested in our community, for being businesses. Here at the Chamber, we get calls a lot or visits, where do I go eat? Where do I need to do this? And we are so happy to refer. And yesterday we had a marketing seminar, and they said, it's just people doing business with people. And it really I love that. And kind of your thought of like, you are helping people, you're empathizing with people. These are human beings, and you guys get the opportunity in your businesses to go above and beyond to help do business with people. And so I really appreciate you all and your leadership in our community as well. And you've talked a lot about having the right culture, having the right team. And so next week on May 25th, which is next Tuesday, we're doing a hiring, how to onboard your employees, how to train them from some HR professionals. So if you have heard yesterday how to market your business, you got customers in the door, and today you learned how to treat them. Next week, we're talking about hiring the right people, building the right culture in your business. And so tune in, register for that next Tuesday, and we look forward to continuing the small business series. Thanks to F&B Trice. I know Amy's on here. So thank you guys very much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Have a great day.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.